Are you holding at least 250 ounces of silver? Good evening, America, and welcome back to another episode of Silver Dad Knows. Remember, always live with no edits. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button now, as you're going to like what I'm about to say. So, just speaking this evening, folks, I'm presenting right here a very, very special piece, and we're looking at a 1922 piece dollar. Truly a standout in U.S. coinage history, with an extraordinary mintage of over 51 million at the Philadelphia Mint alone. It holds the record for the highest mintage of any silver dollar, making it the most common date in the piece dollar series. Despite its abundance, the 1922 piece dollar remains a cherished American classic. Minted for only 14 years, this coin has been a cornerstone for collectors and investors for nearly a century. And at this point, I would say over a century. Its stunning design, substantial silver content, and historical significance make it a must-have addition to any modern collection. What makes the 1922 piece dollar even more appealing is its affordability. In circulated condition, these coins are currently available for just 40 to 50 bucks, often with free shipping. However, their value can skyrocket for pristine examples. Uncirculated 1922 piece dollars in top-tier condition have sold for over $25,000. You heard that right, highlighting their incredible collectability and investment potential. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a first-time investor, the 1922 piece dollar offers a unique blend of beauty, history, and value. It's a tangible piece of American heritage that continues to captivate enthusiasts worldwide, all over. If you notice, instead of getting that U right there for trust, you get a V for victory. Trust, but with the V for victory. Different times, different mints, different leaders. And before we go any further, I want to give a quick shout out this to my always loyal subscriber. This is the Granddad. Woodrow Wilson is the one who got rid of the tariff system and brought in the income tax system to enslave workers and tax labor. Awesome comment coming right there from the Granddad. And it's so true. And a lot of people don't even realize this. A lot of people don't even know American history and don't understand what has propelled us to this point. And it's very simple. You had individuals like Woodrow Wilson, and this goes back very, very long time ago. But he even said so himself, that he was a very sad man, knowing that he had sold America out to foreigners, that America would no longer be owned by its own people, but by people who weren't from this very nation. Something sacred had been lost, and Woodrow Wilson was not ignorant to the fact that he aided the devastation that has been brought upon the American people. And that was just the beginning back then. So imagine what has transpired up until this point. If he was to see how the common American was living, if he was to see how so many Americans were living, what so many Americans had, what so many Americans did not have, I don't think he'd be shocked. If anything, he might be surprised the fact that America's lasted this long. But other than that, to see such a weak economy, to see so many people living paycheck to paycheck, not thriving, but surviving, would only reinforce that he made a mistake back then. And he certainly knew it back then. So great comment again coming from the Granddad. And I'm going to repeat it. Woodrow Wilson is the one who got rid of the tariff system and brought in the income tax system to enslave workers and tax labor. And that's why they always talk about how we are literally modern slaves. If you don't work, if you don't pay so much in taxes, if you don't make so much money. You can't afford a house. You can't afford a card note. You can't afford insurance. You can't afford to invest. You can't afford to retire. You can't afford a vacation. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on. So the point being, you must work smart, sometimes work hard, because that is what is required of us in order to thrive here in corporate America. When the dollar finally collapses under the weight of endless debt, inflation, and political mismanagement, those holding tangible assets will inherit the financial future. Among all the options, real estate, stocks, or crypto, silver stands as the most accessible and practical form of real wealth preservation. Owning 250 ounces of silver may not sound like much to the untrained ear, but in a world where fiat currency fails, that small stack will buy freedom, security, and independence the few will ever know. The reason silver becomes so powerful during a dollar collapse is simple. It has intrinsic value. Unlike paper money, which is only valuable because the government says it is, silver is finite, universally desired, and has been recognized as money for over 5,000 years. When confidence in the US dollar shatters, whether through hyperinflation, debt default, or digital currency manipulation, silver's purchasing power will skyrocket as people rush toward anything that is actually real. For the longest time, people flocked to the imaginary, to the hypothetical. But as times progress and so many of us are understanding, well, the imaginary is not real. The hypothetical is just that, hypothetical. The smartest people are now turning and purchasing hard assets, ammunition, gold, silver, platinum, palladium, copper, physical assets, property, vehicles, physical. Now imagine 250 ounces at $53 each today. That's just over $13,000 in today's money. Not a fortune, but history shows that during past currency crisis, silver's value against collapsing fiat exploded by 10 times, 20 times, even 50 times. If silver were to hit $200 per ounce in a true monetary reset, your 250-ounce stack would suddenly be worth $50,000. And that's in purchasing power, not worthless paper. It could buy a car, months of rent, even a small piece of land when most are struggling just to survive. But the value of silver goes beyond numbers. It's portable, divisible, and private. Qualities cash used to have before the rise of digital tracking and government overreach. When banks freeze accounts or the new digital dollar limits your spending freedom, you'll still have a means of trade. Whether it's for food, fuel, or protection, an ounce of silver will always have a buyer. Holding 250 ounces mean you have a lifeline no government can confiscate with a click. Silver is a psychological weapon against fear. When the headlines scream of stock market crashes, as they are now, de-dollarization, central bank bailouts, stackers sleep soundly knowing they hold something real. So that 250-ounce stash represents independence from the system, freedom against the illusion of control the monetary elites, unfortunately, continue to maintain. It's not just metal, it is peace of mind. So when the dollar finally dies, and that day is coming, 250 ounces of silver won't just make you richer, it will make you free. It's your ticket out of dependence, your shield against chaos, and your bridge in the next economy. Because when paper burns, metal survives. And those who stack silver today will live tomorrow on their own terms. But folks, as always, thank you so much for joining us for another evening, another episode of Silver Dad Knows. God bless you, God bless your household, and God bless America.